lovers, so I always try to make sure that I get you guys on before I get to going in because we know how that goes sometimes. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Friday Night Hot Topic here on the DeeVa Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're not going to waste too much time. We're going through all the podcasts. We're going to just say it like this. Wherever you are listening to your podcast, whatever platform you prefer to listen to your podcast on, thank you for clicking on that and listening to the show. I appreciate you so greatly. So, today's topic, we are going to be answering a question that came in. If someone shows you time and time again that they are not there for you, what do you do, DeeVa? What do you do if someone's showing you time and time again that they are not there for you? So, what we're going to do is we're going to get some people invited out. So, you guys be really patient while I get that done and just talk amongst yourselves. Follow me on social media. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Someone say it with me for the people that listen all the time. You already know what a sister about to say. So you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Miss DeeVa for you. MZDEEVA, the number 4YOU. You can follow me on Facebook. The page is hashtag ASKDEEVA. And you could be my friend on Facebook if I like you like that. But because I have to get to know the type of person that you are before I allow you into my personal space due to previous mistakes that have been made, it's better for you to communicate with me on the social media public platforms. She's so extra. No, it's just a drink. All right, so you guys, here we go. If someone shows you time and time again that they are not there for you, what is it that you do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to part one, and then I have about four parts to this one because I always feel it's one of those that's multifaceted in every sense of that phenomenal word, right? So repetitive bad behavior. We have to start there. Why not? Repetitive bad behavior, you guys, you're going to have to get an eye for this. Especially those of you who are dating 45 and over. Where's your eye? Your eye should be just like amazing at this point, right? So you're going to have to get a really good eye for this. Repetitive bad behavior will always lead to the fork in the road. Whether it is your man, a crappy employer, a family member, at some point in time, the person on the receiving end is going to have to decide either to snap and slap out the person or decide to call it a day and walk away. It's up to you to decide. When it comes to me, I'm an open book. So, people say, well, watch what you say on social media, DeeVa, because your future boss might hear. My future boss will hear that in the interview. I don't do bad behavior. Okay, so I don't do bad behavior from my boss. I don't do bad behavior from my coworkers. I am not a fan of bad behavior. The only person that I will tolerate bad behavior from and give you phenomenal service is from the client, because I understand that you came to me and I have a service that I need to continue to give. But when it comes to coworkers, bosses, managers, when it comes to the workplace, I don't do bad behavior. I have this way of should we say nice nasty? That's too much. She stay extra. But yeah, I have this way, you guys, of really being where I'm going to let you know that this isn't for me, and you get to a new workplace and you always have to tell people, and when they cannot, I will deal with you a little bit. I will tolerate it, and I will have conversations with you, and I will try to treat you like you're some type of adult that can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. But when you continue bad behavior and I clock in the next day and I come the next day and I go the next day, or say if I'm dealing with a life coach client, life coach clients are just like this. You need me and I need you, but I don't need your bad behavior on any given day. So I'm going to make sure that you know that from the get. So I'm not going to put up with bad behavior. I'm not going to be treated badly. I only tolerate maybe the worst of things from the people that I love deeply, right? So and even then, they have key little words. You know, we have a safe word with my family. So the safe word with my family, when people hear me, you know, my children and my lover, if I say tone, tone, that's the safe word. That means that my cray cray, she try to come out. You know, we don't need all that, right? So yeah, no, but in all serious talk, honestly, it's just something that I can't deal with. So also on Facebook, you guys, I want you to know that I am going to have a little bit of after party talk. If you want to go over there to the page, I will make sure that a little after party talk happens. Okay, so feel free to come and be involved with that. All right. So now part two, repetitive bad behavior. If that part did not make sense for those, I always have some of my listeners take notes. So repetitive bad behavior, like I said earlier, is going to lead to the fork in the road. Okay. So you're going to have to make a decision. Are you going to just say, look, and get into it with that person? Or are you going to decide to call it a day and walk away? I'm always your fan. For call it a day and walk away. The same way that you got those coins, you will be offered some more coins. And usually when you walk away, something better is coming anyway, right? So you don't have to continue to tolerate, especially racism, disrespect, people putting work on you that is not your work, you know. No, that's not okay to do, right? And then if you're talking about in relationships, for the listener, if you're talking about that, ask the question, if you're talking about in relationships, um there's a season. I say the same thing all the time in my books, and I've said it on the podcast for 10 years now. There's a season, and there's a reason for every season. Okay, so some seasons, that we've heard all the experts tell you this, some seasons last longer than others. I have some friends, one of my greatest friends in Austin, he will tell you, man, I spend my entire friendship making sure that I do not get on DeeVa's bad side, because I've seen it and I don't ever want to be the recipient of that, right? So that's some smart stuff, right? So when it comes to relationships, there's a season that go on long, and I'm not the type of person that my getting upset with you, it takes a lot. You have to drop 75 of the Simon Malls on me. You know what I'm saying? Before I really just go off on you. You know, I could tolerate a lot, because most of it is me looking at you and saying that you're ignorant to your behavior. So I could try to negotiate with you and try to see, is there a possible learning curve in here? But when I grow tired of dealing with your learning curve, sister out. Sister out, right? So some seasons come to an end, and many people from my past, you know, the ones that are listening to the podcast, but they can't click like because they don't like me like that no more. Those people know, you know what I'm saying, that when the season get cut, they still try to come and tune into the podcast and everything they can to be a part of my life, but they know done. Right? I'll see you on the other side. What's the name of the show we love? The Good Place. I'll see you in the Good Place. Okay? Because Basic. I'm sorry. I knew I was going to say that as soon as I said The Good Place, right? So anyway, you have to just watch it. One of our favorite shows to Honey and I date night with, right? So people can change, right? So we're going to go into that. Now, when it comes to, again, the question that you're asking is, if someone shows you time and time again that they are not there for you, what do you do? So you've already tried to go to counseling and therapy, making sure that this is not something that you're not reading in the right way, making sure that this is something that maybe you need to carefully talk over with your counselor and carefully get away from that situation. You know, you've done all the things, you've done the work. But have you know, in when you start getting in that work, are you looking at the fact that maybe people can change, and are you given? Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Reborn. Mr. Honey Sugar Honey Iced Tea. Thank you for listening. So can people change? Yes. And so you have to decide within yourself. I can't force you to tolerate and deal with someone that when a woman's fed up, right? So when you're fed up, you know, it's not for any of us to tell you to keep going, right? So when you're fed up, and that person is constantly disrespecting you and continuing to exhibit bad behavior and refuses to just act like an adult and move into this situation the way that they're supposed to, and move and treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, whether it's a family member, whether it's work, or whether it's a relationship full of love, you have to decide, is this for me? And if it is, I am needing you to be able to show me that you can change, right? So when I ask, can people change? I go here and say, people can change. However, not all are willing to put in the work that comes with changing. Just as we good behaving types, as silly as I get on here all the time, I actually am in the good behaving category, right? So I treat people really well. I treat my children well. I treat my the people that they love well. I treat their families well. I don't do anything to just go out and to be a home wrecker or be destructive, right? Because what I put out, I want to receive that in return, right? So my behavior that I exhibit is what I put out, I want that in return. Now, everyone that knows me, that has followed me for a long time, what category? Who can tell? Every people that know me. What is the one group of people that you have shown me no respect from the get, so I'm not showing you any respect at all from my get? What's that group of people? Most people know me, but here's a hint: black and white. Right? So when it comes to a racist, I'm going all the way in on you. So my racist trolls, y'all know, like, I don't tolerate. Once you get flip at the Trump lip, that's it. You get flip at the Trump, hashtag flip at the Trump lip. You can flip at the Trump lip with me is oh a pappy, because I respect people, and you don't know that because you're just looking at some text on social media, and you don't know me as a person. But people that know me as a person know that I give, and I give, I love, and everything that I give out is because I want to receive that back. But I will not be stepped on. I will not be treated badly, and I will stand up for my ancestors when they weren't able to. I'm coming for that ass when you come for mine. Let that be a lesson to the next Trump supporter troll, right? So anyway, people can change, like I said. Not all people are willing to change. Good people like me, good behaving types, tend to get comfortable, and we get stuck in our ways in certain areas, right? Cranky when we have to suddenly change to comfortable when we're in a comfortable routine, right? Or in a comfortable way of being. Bad acting folks are the same way. They're just worse, you guys. When faced with change, they are worse. Okay, so most choose not to change and will just cut up until thrown out of the person's life. Most people that have no ability to change, for my listener, here is a lot of the meat in your answer. When they just don't have it in them, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Paraphrase Dr. Maya Angelou. Okay? So when someone shows you who they are and you have put out energy, but you are starting to feel exhausted, you get to the point where you cannot even stand to be in that person's presence, and you don't like who you are when you are in that person's presence, that's it. Every season either is going to go long and continue on into forever, or it's going to come to an end. That's all the seasons do. They'll just roll on and roll on and roll on. And those are the people you've known since, daycare, right? You're 50 something. There's that. And then there are the seasons that you can look back and go, oh, I'm so glad I cut that. You ever, you remember that life, like you look back at that one person and they were so horrible. And you go, oh my goodness, I thank God that I left that person out my life, because that just wasn't for me, right? So, um, book plug. Great Sex is Not Love and Never Will Be. A lot of learning lessons in there, and I have it available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, so you can go take a look at it. And if that'll help you, definitely get some good answers out of there. Also, with what you're going through, you'll see how I shared the different scenarios and how seasons had to come to an end and the continuous repetitive bad behavior. I said, okay, maybe this person can change, but at what point do I no longer have the energy for this, right? And know how to cut people off and be okay with cutting people off. You know that you gave your all. Don't you beat yourself up when you have to cut somebody off, right? Because you know you gave it your all. You tried. Pat yourself on the back. That's why you have to stay on the good side. Someone cheats on you, you can't cheat back. What kind of child are you? The response to cheating is not cheat back. Go lay up under someone else and all that other stuff. Auntie Strawberry told you she forgot to tell you that she was picking up her chlamydia medicine on the way to giving you that advice. Okay? You know the DeeVa gonna keep it real. All right, so you guys, a handful of people are going to admit this, right? A handful of people are going to admit that they need help. And if they really, really care, they are going to do what it takes to change. Okay? So a handful of people will do that. They will say, you know what? I'm done. You know, it's kind of like ladies, single ladies, when we try to break down over the years and things that I tell you guys about men, and I always make light of it. I kind of make men sometimes sound like they're riding um, on trains of no common sense, right? But they're great. We love our men, right? But sometimes it's just people just wake up and they just decide to change. And I told you guys that one time. You're like, well, wow, I was there for him and I tolerated everything that he took me through. He cheated on me. He acted up on me. He took my money. He did this. He did that. And then he just got up and married someone else. I'm going to tell you, as I've said time and time again, but my new listeners may have never heard this. Listen, boo. Men, they so black and white in how they deal with life. They are so black and white with how they deal with life. They will just be doing all kind of things, and then they may meet somebody. They'll meet a whole bunch of somebodies along the way. Players from the Himalayas, because promiscuous was their middle name. So they'll meet all kind of people along the way. And they'll be with this chick that they brought home for a one night stand, and she's laying across their bed drunk. And they're like, man, I don't even remember this girl's name. And then they'll just look up and be like, let me go get a cup of coffee. They'll walk in the room and they'll stare at their bed with their cup of coffee. And they're like, I'm going to marry Felicia. Let me see if she on Facebook. And then they'll just go like hit up Felicia and start inboxing her and DMing her. And next thing you know, they run off and marry her. I promise you, it's just that simple with men. You think it's some kind of rocket science, girl? No, when they're ready, they're ready. That's it. There's nothing more. When they're ready, they're ready, and that ready may not always be you. So you need to stay ready. Hashtag stay ready. If you really want me to do something on that, hit me up in my inbox, and we'll do a stay ready topic. You just ask your question, and we'll come, and we'll do a topic on that, right? So a handful of people, like I said, are going to admit that they need help and they will do the mental work to change, okay? So I have a quote that I love to share all the time, and if you've listened to the show for a while, then you already have heard it so many times, right? So I went to see Creflo Dollar in Houston, Texas once, and Creflo Dollar, I'm no longer religious, but it was really, I really enjoyed that event, and I'm the type of person that take the words that I'm meant to hear because I was in the arena and I was supposed to hear that, and then I'll think of that for a long time. So he once said at an event that it was in Houston, Texas, he said, the biggest miracle, paraphrase, that God ever did was not to help a man walk or see. He said the biggest miracle is when he helps a mind change. That's still true, and I don't even do religion like that no more, right? So the biggest miracle is when minds change. Like you just look at someone and you'll be like, man, that was a straight up male war. Like, how did that person end up changing? And then you'll see them change and transform. And, I always like to joke around and tell you guys about my honey, how he was a player from the Himalayas. You know what I'm saying? So just seeing him transform and change, it's rewarding. It's rewarding to see him do that, and it's just rewarding to see him do it because he's doing something that he needs to fix for him, right? And I'm not like, oh, at least what's the song? I'm not saying this, I forgot his exes tune in, so you guys give me a minute. I'm gonna say something to his exes. I'm not saying this like nanny nanny boo boo, he's mine, you made her had him once, but no, I'm not doing that. But I am kind of got him all the time. No, I'm not seriously, but I am. But no. Okay, so, but you get where I'm coming from, but like, it's just really rewarding to see people change. That is a beautiful miracle. Like, if we woke up tomorrow and Donald Trump was human, we would be like, wow, change is so beautiful. You guys would flip out. but he's not human. It's not gonna happen. So anyway, but I thought that was like one of the quotes that I take with me for a lifetime because it's facts. It's a miracle to see it when people change. It's a miracle and it's a beautiful thing to see. Changing and stubborn ego-filled humans is a war, and it's an ugly one most of the times. It takes an act of God. It takes an act of God. You get them to walk right, you're just like, wow. And you didn't do anything. People, it's what's the best example I can give you? Psychology. I'll take it to my studies. You can present the opportunity, the conversation, the intervention, but you didn't do anything to make a drug addict change. You can cancel, you can do whatever, but that chemical, when it gets in that body, it's just eating their soul. A drug addict does the work to change. Okay? So it's the person that does the work to change. So you really get no credit in it at all. Of course, we all know that, right? But the universe has this way of speaking to people. People have death scares. They lose someone that means something to them. Financial scares. There's just, this COVID crisis, you're going to see a lot of people start changing. It's going to be a beautiful thing to see, but at the same time, don't trust everybody that's presenting that they're changing. And I have to say this for a minute to the ladies. It's May 1st. I'm going to get back on topic. Stay with me, podcast life. So it's May 1st, and men have a habit, ladies. The players, they know how to lay it on smooth when they are in tight places. Okay? And so I want you ladies to be careful to not let someone pretending to come back in your life telling you that they are doing better and that they're not going to be this type of person and that they're going to behave greatly, because if they're facing layoffs and they barely can find a burger to eat at night, they're going to start playing a whole bunch of games just to get in there. And I'm telling you, hey, big girl, let me back it up. Plus size women, sometimes you are the target. Okay, so they know it's not winter no more, but they know that you have a COVID decline, right? So you have a decline in being able to satisfy things. And I urge you to go to the adult stores online and see if they got Amazon Prime to get that to you in 2 hours. Don't you let that fool in your house. Okay, so I have to stop and say that. Don't let that fool in your house coming up with all. You still have to follow my guidelines, even in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis. You are still going to have to get to know that person, see who they are for 6 months, let the next 6 months come by, and the representative do all that little cute little stuff that he does. And then maybe at the 12th or 13th month, try to get to know their family. That doesn't always go well. Moment of silence for how that doesn't always go well. But you take your time. So don't move the I can't pay June 1st rent guy in your house. And vice versa. Because the ladies will do that to you as well. Right? So please, please, men, don't get caught up in the looks and the big booty, okay? Because that's the main one that she isn't working anymore. She can't get to the club. She can't play all the games that she usually can get her nails done and her hair done and all that. And so she's getting desperate. So she's going to try to act like she is now a hoe turned into a ready-to-be housewife. Don't fall for it. Follow the timeline. Let 12 months go by. Might even have a vaccine by then. Okay. And that's important. All right, so go back to what we were saying. So changing and stubborn, ego-filled humans is a war. It's an ugly one most of the time. It takes an act of God. That's why the ball lies in the court of the one being treated badly. And that's when we go into the final part of this topic right here. So this lies in the court, in your court right now. And this becomes your dilemma for those of you that are tuned in on Spotify and Apple and Google Podcasts and everything. You can't see the screen, but the question says stay or go. That's it. That's where you're at right now, right? So the ball lies in the court of the one being treated badly. So you don't feel like you're being treated the way that you deserve to be treated. You stand up for that. And again, it's not just about relationships. It could be about family. It could be about work. It could be about religious organizations. I got up and walked out one day on an organization, and the pastor questioned me and said, well, why are you leaving? And I said, oh, and I'm just so snappy, petty, and we're going to work on that. I'm almost at 47 years. Okay, so I have, I have to work on that. But he was like, why are you leaving? And I was like, oh, because God told me to. And he's like, what? And then I was like, what? Because I'm trying to figure out why my pastor was confused. That God, I thought this was what your mission. Isn't this what the business does here? Isn't the organization about me having a relationship with God? So I put my little snappy remark out there, but he was like confused, and God, he went through. And I understand when you're giving $2,000 a month in tithe and donations, and you take it away from the establishment. Well, people tend to miss the table when she pull back. But no. So anyway, so no one can make the decision for you, stay or go. No one can make that decision for you. You have to do that. You have to do that, right? So we just did an example, and we talked about all the things that are presented to you. You have motivational speakers. You have the Ask DeeVa podcast. You have Ask DeeVa books. You know, plug. Great sex is not love and never will be. So your heart's been broken. Please get over it. Remember this, not just anyone will do. Reasons he dates plus size. Reasons she's excessive over a man. I've given you some tools, right? So with that, use them. The drug addict can go to rehab, but he has to want to go. The enabler gets exhausted. The drug addict can't get the drugs without the enabler, right? Unless you're Trump and you're buying them. Excuse me, 1 minute. What she say? Tell your friend to tell another friend to tune into the Ask DeeVa show. You have to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody. I appreciate you guys when you do that. But no, seriously. You have to want to change. You are in control of saying, I'm staying and I'm going. But here's one thing that comes with staying. And this is not mine. I borrowed it from many years ago. So I was trying to decide what I was going to do. And I was talking to Oprah. But a sister was just talking to the TV because it was just the Oprah show. It was in my head. But I was listening to the show and she said something so powerful. And this is like back in maybe early 2000s. And she's like, did you decide to stay? And I don't even remember what the show was about or whatever. But the part that she got to when she was talking about the bad relationship, and she said, okay. So once you've made the decision to stay, all that drama need to fade away. Right? Why are you calling your friends every day with he's this and he's that and I can't stand him, he always doing that? Why are you ruining their day? They wake up and got their mimosas and looking at the sunrise, and here you come with he ain't shit calls. Well, girl, I just talked to you 24 hours ago, and at the end of the conversation you said you were going to try another day, and we keep doing that for like 6 months. When you decide to say you may complain a little bit between behind closed doors, and it is what it is, the conversations that may happen. But leave your friends out of it. You decided to stay, work that thing out in your mind, right? If you decide to go, go. And the same thing goes for going. Why are you revisiting a relationship and then that person has moved on and they're with someone new and you're trying to tell that person new about how what you had didn't work? Stop. To go is to go. So it was very powerful when I heard that. It's very important that you guys do something really good with the things that you hear in life, because when you hear them, they're always going to be for something at another time that is really for you, right? All right, so that's all that I have for you guys. Are we doing after the party? Is the after party? Maybe. So I'm going to say goodnight to Spotify and YouTube. I'm going to say goodnight to you all. Thank you so much for coming by and tuning in. And I didn't get to check you out on YouTube. Give me a minute, YouTube. Let me see how you guys did over here. And it's the after party. Who's in? After party. Who's in? Oh. Yeah, I know. I tend to have these little parties by myself. In the studio. This is what I do. So, you guys stayed in, and did I get any live chats or questions or anything like that on YouTube? All right, so you guys, thank you so much, and I'm going to go ahead and shut you out, but I love you. It's not forever. It's just for that right now. Tell your friend to tell another friend to tune in to the Ask DeeVa show. All right, Facebook. So I see you still hanging around. Y'all here because y'all nosy. No jokes. It's just because it takes a long time to get everything shut out in the studio. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you thought about the topic. Did it help you? If it didn't help you, and girl, you already know because you're smarter than me, and who D thinks she is, share it with your friend, girl, because it wasn't about you. It was for her. So for the listener that submitted a question, thank you, and keep the questions going. You guys can DM a message the question. I of course did not reveal that person's identity, and that's how I do for 10 years on the Ask DeeVa show, right? So your secrets are my secret. You're my little. Why that song? Just, that doesn't apply. You're my little. Don't you hate lyrics? Song lyrics. Song lyrics are a trip. All right, so no, you guys can inbox. If you have some dilemmas that you're trying to go through, and I'm not here to try to tell you that I'm the best at it, but I will pull resources from the things that I've learned over the years from phenomenal people, as well as the things that I've learned in my own journey. And we're just gonna work this thing out because life coaching, that's what it's about. It's about helping you through the process, and you're helping me through the process, and we're walking this together. When I cut the strings, you're on your own. You're gonna be amazing, right? So, so let's go and look at the comments over here on Facebook. After party. Oh, I just have to type that. After party. All right. So stay or go. That was the last part of that, but I think it was a really topic. What did you guys think about the topic? Brent said that this is a good show. Thank you. You know, you met a phenomenal chick. She all that. I'm joking. So thank you very much, lover. I appreciate that. Yeah, people have to want to change. People have to want to change. Rewind that if you're just now tuning in. You definitely want to rewind to the part about the change, because it's just so very true. Um, and then realizations of how shitty you've been to others. That part is hard to walk in, because like there was a time when I tell you guys about in my first book, my memoir, Great Sex is Not Love and Never Will Be. Read that chapter when I screwed up, right? Because you guys always think that, oh, she's so perfect, and the diva does tend to be a little perfect. No, I'm joking. It's Virgo stuff, but seriously, like there's this point when I messed up bad, and you will see it happen from the beginning of that chapter, and then it flows over into the next chapter, and you're like, ooh, D. Ooh, but karma came back, baby. I don't know who that person was, but he was the deity of all deities because that karma came back over the years, over and over again, right? So I was young then, when I was a young girl. But no, I was young, so. But my counselor, as Iyanla Vanzette would say in her book, In the Meantime, right? Have you guys heard that part, In the Meantime? I don't even know if I could pull it up. We're in the after party, so let me see if I can pull it up on Audible. She has this phenomenal part in this chapter, and it's like it's like within the first 8 minutes. Why don't we do that? Why don't we try to listen to that? But there's something that she says. I hope this is the right part because I've been reviewing In the Meantime, and let me play that for you. I hope you guys can hear it. I had to go to my Audible. It may not even let us do this. Let's see. Hopefully so.
Simon & Schuster Audio presents In the Meantime, Finding Yourself and the Love You Want. Written and read by Iyanla Vanzette.
Let me show you something in here.
There will come a time in your life when all you can do is love. You will have done all you can do, tried all you can try, hurt all you can hurt, given up so many times that love will be the only way in or out. That day will surely come, just as sure as you are listening to my voice. In the meantime, I'll tell you a few things you can do to get ready for the most joyous day of your life, the day you experience true love. Somewhere in the back of your mind, you know the day will eventually come when the relationship you are in will be all that you want, or all that you want in a relationship will one day show up. The question remains, what do you do in the meantime? He was my love counselor. Tall, slim, very quiet, almost shy. I was short, stout, and quite, shall I say, boisterous. I was forever doing, saying, or experiencing things that attracted attention to me, usually negative attention. He was 17. I was 13. He was a group leader at summer camp, and I was a summer worker who had not gotten paid. An administrative foul-up deleted my name from the payroll roster. He was assigned the task of making sure I got paid. It seemed that no one knew what was going on except him. As far as I was concerned, he knew everything. He walked me through a process that took 2 weeks to unravel. As we went from office to office, supervisor to supervisor, he was patient, always amenable. I was angry with a lot to say. He was comforting, and did I really need comforting? My love counselor constantly reassured me that it would all work out just fine.
That part.
I believed him because it gave me an opportunity to be in his presence. That belief and his persistence finally paid off. I was issued 3 summer youth corps paychecks for $45 each. It was a thrilling moment for me. It was an accomplishment for him. He was just doing his job. I was just being in love. Now that I had my paychecks, I realized there was one small problem I now needed to resolve. This young man with whom I was madly in love was dating one of my best friends. It was the beginning of my meantime. I spent 30 years of my life being in love with this man. I call him a counselor because he helped me search, question, and heal myself. He taught me many lessons about life and love. When we met, other people had me convinced that what I felt was not love. They said it was infatuation. Because they were older and I thought wiser than me, I believed them. I thought it best to ignore what I felt. I moved through that phase of my life believing that I knew nothing about love. After all, I was just a child. I concluded that we would never, could never be together. He was too old for me. I moved on with my life being hurt and being angry about what I had been told and what I believed I had lost. In the end, I concluded that I wasn't good enough to be loved by him or anyone else. In this moving, believing, conclusion-drawing process, I also made some decisions. I decided I would never be hurt by love again.
Oh, you'll have to read in the meantime. I'm cutting it right there because, you need to get your Audible. Sister paid for hers. I'm joking, but yeah, you have to pay me. You have to help me pay for that account to read that. No, I'm joking. So, love counselor, that part. Definitely bringing the after party to an end so you can take that home with you. She called her experiences, especially this person that she loved, she called it her love counselor. I'm just going to let you marinate and get all that you can out of that because that's powerful. Right. All right. So it's been a Friday Night Hot Topic. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for submitting your questions. I appreciate you. Facebook, you're getting more than they get on the podcast. It's almost 40 whole minutes. So thank you for even being here this long. If you stayed, tell your friend to tell another friend. Y'all could better start telling your friends. I'm not going to keep singing that for y'all. I'm going to start charging. Tell your friends and tell a friend to tune into the show. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Have a good evening, lovers.